If the Iranians are giving us the arms to do it, then Hassan Nasrallah would send his son to die for the Iranian sake, for Ahmadinejad and for Bashar al-Assad. I don't believe that if you want to maximize, your profits, you don't kill yourself.
Mona Fayed, the Shia academic, writing in An-Nahar newspaper, he asked...
You didn't leave me answer.
I gave you quite a lot of time. She asked, who is a Shiite today? Someone who takes his instructions from Iran, terrorizes fellow believers into silence, and leads the nation into catastrophe without consulting anyone. That's the view of a Shiite academic.
This is another evidence that we believe in democracy, and everybody can say whatever they want. They can say whatever they want. I believe this is a credit for Hezbollah, not against Hezbollah.
All right, Ibrahim Musawi, thank you very much indeed.
There's some few provocative statements here by both Mona and Ibrahim. First, that the Hezbollah is liberating occupied land. What occupied land? In 2000 we were liberated. We celebrated this liberation. And we were happy, and our heads are really up.
The Israelis are still inside.
Now they are, after this war.
They were.
Hilltops of border villages, unfortunately, they fly Israeli flags. Right now we are occupied. Right now, Lebanese citizens are abducted on a daily basis. And we know this, and we see this in newspapers.
Could you just finish?
What?
Don't you recognize Shib'a Farms as part of your territory?
Shib'a Farms is a small sliver that can be a wonderful subject of a diplomatic battle.
Even if it's a one
with the UN. You are part of the government, you are part of parliament, you can introduce a motion to the Council of Ministers to launch a diplomatic offensive, and you can see if this works or not. If at all this fails, then maybe you can consult over a military initiative.
Right, we're going to throw the questions now open to the audience. You're going to have your say, and we have a gentleman up there, please.
My question is, would this conflict have still occurred if the Syrian army were still in the Lebanon land?
Who's your question to? Who would you like to answer it?
The chair.
Thank you.
If the Syrians were in Lebanon, I mean, it's really a difficult question to answer. It's a bit of an abstract question, but the Syrians in Lebanon played a very, very strong role in really beefing up the military capabilities of Hezbollah and in supporting Hezbollah, and they're still doing this to this day. Whether they would have attacked or not, well, probably not. Who knows? Or probably they would have just to get done with this. But there is a 1559 resolution that the whole international community entrusted us to implement peacefully. That was beside the point whether the Syrians were there or not. And 1559, we gave it a year and a half of negotiations, of peaceful negotiations to try to settle it, including the honorable disarmament of Hezbollah. It did not work. So I think the international community became a bit patient with this and unfortunately gave a green light to destroy the country. But whether the Syrians or not would have supported, who knows?
Do you want to come in on this?
Yes, of course I want to come in on this. In 2004 there was an exchange of prisoners and Syria was there. So there was an exchange of prisoners between Hezbollah and Israel. And negotiations took place and the Germans mediated that. So this is not new. And it was after a capture of Israeli soldiers too. So this is not new. This is what I'm trying to tell you. This is not new. This is a plan that was this capture has triggered a plan already premeditated by Israel in concert with the United States.
The lady in the front row, please.
My question is to Mr. Ibrahim. If we allow private organizations such as Hezbollah, religious organizations, to defend their country, we'll slowly have organizations worldwide like the Al-Qaeda and Hezbollah, and the government won't have control over their weapons, and then destruction would take place all over the world. I don't have a solution for the prisoners that are kept, but I know what we shouldn't do, and that's not to kidnap 2 more soldiers and have Hezbollah defend the country, because slowly that's just going to cause destruction around the world.
Well, actually, it's not a private organization. You're talking about the people, the grassroots. You're talking about the villagers, people who live in the south. If you go to the villages, to Ait al-Shab, now they are familiar to you, to Aitarun, to Bint Jbail, to other places. It's the villagers, the people who live there, the farmer, the pharmacist, the teacher, the shopkeeper, that they were fighting against the Israelis. They were fighting for their dignity, for their land, to preserve and to make the country sovereign. They are not fighting for anyone else. They are not mercenaries. And when you talk about private organization, Al-Qaeda and others, and not allowing or not having the country or the state does not have the mandate over their arms. I mean, the Lebanese army was not there. And this is due to a defect in the Lebanese system, that they didn't build a strong army in order to fight the Israelis. Even the classical army, even it was there, it couldn't fight the Israelis. It needs a guerrilla warfare, a different kind of classical war to fight the Israelis. So, this is the kind of thing that we have to look for.
Mana.
Yes, and another thing is that if the government, every Israeli assault was diminishing the capability of the formal government. So other people had to step in to be the opposition and the resistance force, because at every assault of Israel, you diminish the impact and the efficiency of official governments. And this is what happened in Lebanon.
May I follow up, please?
A brief word from this side, then I'm going to go back to the question and see if she was satisfied with the answer.
No, they stepped in to diminish the whole of Lebanon. Okay? And if you're complaining that Israeli assaults were diminishing the government, we saw the destruction of Lebanon as a result of this intervention on Hezbollah's part.
All right, let me go back to the question in the front row. Are you happy with the answer you got from this side?
What I believe is that, okay, it might not be a private organization, but I don't see, if it's not with the government, I know it's not, I'd consider it private. And if we slowly have them defend their country, we have Bin Laden considering he's defending Islam, and he's portraying Islam to the whole world. And he thinks he's defending Islam. I don't believe he's defending Islam. But they're sharing their point of views and what they believe is right without concerning the government, without going back and asking the people who are in control. And their role is to do.
All right, thank you. We're going to take a question from a gentleman right at the back, please.
The question here is for Mrs. Munawar from the panel there. When Hezbollah carried out their action on behalf of Lebanon, did they consider the impact or consequence on the rest of the population of Lebanon, which constitutes the other big majority, considering the Druze, the Christians, the other Muslim, or it simply acted on behalf of owing to them all the other Lebanese population?
Mana Makram Abaid, what do you think? You weren't there, but what do you think?
As I told you before, Hezbollah did not have the intention of escalating into a confrontation and into a war. This was a localized thing which they had announced. They wanted to release their prisoners.
You really believe that with the hundreds of missiles that they had stockpiled, they didn't want to escalate? You really believe that?
I do really believe so. They wanted to have a swap. Seize the 2 Israeli soldiers and in return get the release of Lebanese prisoners who have been there for 20 years, unjustifiably detained. This was the main objective. They had no other objective. And then it so happened that it triggered a premeditated plan to attack Lebanon. This was not an ordinary reaction on the part of Israel, as before that there was negotiations for an exchange of prisoners, and as recently as 2004.
Okay, he wants to come back. Then. You want to come back and say something?
Yeah, just let me then remark quickly, and that just confirmed that what Hezbollah did was simply an inconsiderate adventure when they didn't think in advance of what that would bring to Lebanon, of simply going into Israel territories and kidnapping 2 soldiers and then bring it back havoc to Lebanon.
Okay, gentleman up there, thank you very much.
Thank you. My question is, considering everything you have said about Hezbollah, and considering that Hezbollah was really looking out for the best of Lebanon, don't you think its militia of 50,000 men and 22,000 rockets should have joined the Lebanese army?
Don't you think they should have joined, your militia should have joined the army?
We're not a militia, first of all. We're a resistance movement. And now if you look at what we're doing, we have always been fighting for Lebanon, whether with the Lebanese army or without the Lebanese army. The Lebanese army was not there. We're assuming a role which the Lebanese army should have done. I believe this question should be asked for the political leadership that didn't allow the Lebanese army to assume its proper role.
What do you think about the answers you had? You happy with that?
Yes, but it's just that Hezbollah was given the opportunity of being